Welcome. Today we're going to look at the ZMF Verite headphones. The way that I'm going to approach this review today is by sharing with you some of the research that I did before buying these headphones. So before giving you my own impressions and feedback on the actual headphones, I'm going to point to the fact that in the description of this video, I'm going to have links to some of the reviews that helped me make the decision to buy them in the first place. So there are a couple of reviews from Reddit. There are not many yet. This is a relatively newish headphone and very expensive. But there are one or two that resonated very well with me that I'm going to share. Then I'm going to also link to the forum, the main forum on HeadFi for the Verite. And that your mileage may vary in terms of how useful that's going to be. The forum in HeadFi is, for the most part, talking about the headphones, but the conversation diverges and converges and has its ups and downs. It's more of a stream of thought of the collective hive. But I say that in a positive light. It's like a collective hive-fi. It's a hive-fi forum. Then there's a link to an article or a conversation in Super Best Audio Friends. That, you have a link, and I really do recommend that you click on it and that you read the whole thing. It has an interesting analysis on the drivers, the beryllium drivers inside of these headphones. And they measure different things, compare it with different headphones. So I found it really interesting, and it does help explain from a more rigorous or scientific, from a more scientific perspective, I guess, some of the things that I'm listening that are going on with this headphone. Now, word of warning, open the Super Best Audio Friends link, read the whole thing, and that's it. Don't even click next in the pagination below. Don't go exploring. We have lost many good souls that way. Let me put it that way. Explore at your own peril. All right. With that said, one last thing. There aren't many reviews of the Verites in YouTube yet. There is one from Zeos that I want to address. And let me just say, I love Zeos Pantera. He is the king of headphones. The thing is that he is extremely entertaining. I mean, I've spent hours just watching Zeos review audio equipment and chop up onions and do the dishes and all things in life that a person does. And it's all great. I regret nothing. I would watch it again. He is super funny and relatable, and he's awesome. Now, this review that he put out specifically for the Verite, I just don't agree with, which is fine. I'll still link to it. I recommend that you watch it, and you will get a different perspective, which is great. The only thing that I want to address about it, though, is that I think it's important to understand, if you're not familiar with Zeos, if you're going to go watch that review for the first time, and you haven't seen many of his videos before, just know that he is extremely genuine. He will tell you how he reacts to something, call it like it is. He doesn't presume to be an authority or, in terms of the technical analysis behind the impressions that he gets, which is also great. But it's also important to understand the context in which he is making some of these opinions. So, let me give you an example. If you're hungry, and I offer you a slice of pizza. It's good pizza from a local shop, Italian wood oven, organic tomatoes, whatever. Good pizza. And you're hungry. You're probably going to be like, oh, some pizza, yes! Now, if you just had a 5-course meal and you're stuffed and you had like a Nutella cheesecake for dessert, and then I offer to you a slice of pizza, and then I tell you the slice of pizza is around $3,000. You would be like, what? No, that sounds disgusting. There's no way that I'm eating that disgusting pizza. I think, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but I think that may have been what happened with Zeos, because Zeos got the entire ZMF lineup, five of these headphones in the mail, and there is a common thread with ZMF headphones. There is a house sound, which I love. Obviously, it's a very natural sounding tone that they all have, and tonally, timbre wise, they are somewhat similar. The devil is in the details, the subtleties, the technicalities between one and the other. How are these different? It's very subtle, but it all adds up to a unique experience with each. Now, if you have 5 of these and you're trying one, trying another one, trying a different one with a different setup, and trying a 4th one with like Bluetooth streaming and different amps, and you can see that those details, that nuance can all start to blend together a little bit, to coalesce towards this ZMF experience that, of course, in light of all of that, if you have the around $1,000 Aeolus and around almost up to $3,000 Verite, I think it's totally normal to say I'll stick with the Aeolus. And I think that for Zeos, that probably had an intense wow factor. But I think that maybe in a slower month, if he only received the Verites, he would have loved them. Or maybe not. I could be completely wrong. Take this for what it is. I'm just a stranger in the internet, a handsome stranger holding handsome headphones. So, without further ado, let's dive into my own thoughts and impressions of this. Okay, what can I say about this? These are wonderful, amazing headphones, which sucks for me because they are great headphones to listen to, and they are very, very crappy headphones to review. I mean, what can I even say? This is like my second review in life of anything, and here I go thinking, okay, it's time for me to impress the world with my subtle, eloquent critique discourse on the internet. And when I try to review this, it's like, well, they are perfect. I can't find any flaws with them, nothing to complain. That's it. So fuck you, Zach. I mean, work with me here. Couldn't you have added a little peak at 5K that I could critique and be like, oh, there's a peak at 5K, obviously. No, there's nothing. There's nothing to add, nothing to remove. These are fantastic. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do instead of repeating the same, I could tell you about how holographic the imaging is and how the bass rumbles and the treble is well extended. Like, there's no point. All of the links that I'm sharing with you say all of that and more in more detail with more precision than I could ever say. But what I can do, I'm going to focus my thoughts on how are these different? How are the Auteurs and the Verites different? Because I think for some of you, maybe if you already love the Auteurs and you're thinking about upgrading, is it an upgrade? Is it a side grade? What's the difference? That's I think a valuable question to answer. And if you have none, and this one is more expensive than this one, which one should you get? So also an interesting question. In many ways, I will say that the Verite is an upgrade over the Auteurs. But it's like, if you have amplifiers, headphone amplifiers, tube amplifiers usually, for the most part, have higher distortion than a transistor equivalent version. But that distortion is something that you may really like, and that's great. More power to you. There's a reason for tube amplifiers to exist. I think there's something like that here. I'm hesitant, reluctant to say that this one is better than this one. It's not necessarily an upgrade. The things that I will say though, that this one seems more technically proficient than this one. But the imperfections of the Auteur are very charming and lovable and add up to something very special as well. So don't think that if this one has more of this or less than that, that doesn't really matter. You really have to hear them. Try to go to Head 5 Meet, an event somewhere where you can check them out, because there's really no substitute for that. Now, I know that's difficult, so let me try to help you out. This one had more resolution. The amazing achievement, the most characteristic thing of the Verites is that how do you add more resolution to a headphone in the first place? These ones have a biocellulose driver. It's like a paper-like material that's very light, very stiff, and it has a strengthening ring around the cone to avoid model breakups, and a bunch of interesting, careful tuning techniques to make it sound amazing. It's not extremely stiff, but it sounds incredibly natural. It has very high absorption properties, the biocellulose material. If you want more resolution, you need a driver that is faster, that it responds more to sudden changes. If you're vibrating like crazy and you need to stop, it needs to stop right away and not keep going a little bit. So it needs to be very light, very stiff. It needs to be powered by a strong magnet, and yet it has to be able to support the strength of that magnet without model breakups or other unwanted things. The Verite has a stronger magnet than the Auteur. I don't remember exactly how much stronger. I think it's like 10% stronger in this one. So why didn't they put a stronger magnet in this one? Because if they did, if you put a beefy magnet on it, the paper-like material cannot withstand the strength and it will just distort. And so you're balancing trade-offs of how much you want it to distort versus how much you can try to yield out of the driver. The thing is that if you go to a very stiff material like beryllium is the best metal there could ever be for making a diaphragm, a driver. It's the ratio of how light it is with how stiff it is. It's better than anything else. It's like 30 times better than aluminum, which is already better than titanium, and so on and so forth. But metal has very low absorption, and so it can sound metallic-y. And there's just no other way to say it than, it has a characteristic timbre to it. But ZAC took a biocellulose driver, not exactly biocellulose, something with high absorption properties, similar to biocellulose, and then vapor deposited beryllium on it, a very thin coat of beryllium. And so the resulting driver has characteristics of both. It sounds very natural. It maintains this tonality that is very much sought after. It's not an accident that they sound similar. There a lot of research and thought went into making it be like that. But it has some of these characteristics of like that focal utopia. It's incredibly resolving, fast, accurate. This manifests itself in so many ways. You feel that it has more air at top. The bass is more textured. It has more resolution, more grain to it, more raspy. Like you feel the texture of the instruments, not just the note that they're playing, ever so slightly more. So more resolving and yet tonally similar. The tonality of the Auteurs was the thing that made them amazing. I mean, comparing them to Mr. Speakers, Ethers, to Odyssey headphones. Odyssey headphones have this thing where the frequency response is not always, it's not everyone's cup of tea. Let's put it that way. The mids are somewhat scooped in the transition between bass to treble, and the Auteurs just sound natural. And I don't even know if it's the Harman target neutral or if it's something else. But the CMF compensation curve, they are CMF neutral, and whatever that means, they sound more like speakers in a room than headphones. That's what I said about this anyway. And I said these were my favorite headphones. It's such a bummer that I need to say that these are now my favorite headphones, because now I sound like one of those reviewers that every new headphone is their favorite headphone. Zeos. So what's the deal with this? More resolving. They are very rumbly in the bass, and they come with two different pads. These are the universe pads, which are thicker, and it comes with a couple more flatter, more shallower pads that have a little less rumble in the bass and are a little bit more traditionally neutral. I like these ones better. They are a little bit more fun, a little bit more engaging, and you can use, by the way, these pads on the tour, and you get interesting results as well. Now, are the tour just worse than this? Less resolving, less rumble in the bass, etc. Well, no. They are a bit more laid back. They are more like a mellow, smoother sound. It's just more relaxing experience. I think in many cases, one would prefer these ones. If you're listening to acoustical instruments where the plucking of strings, you can really feel the nuance around the percussion of the strings a little bit more, not just the notes they're playing. But the tours can sometimes create a more cohesive experience. It's more of a blending of everything, more of an aura of sound around you. The soundstage seems to be a little bit larger, but this one have a way more imaging. The imaging on this one, I don't know if the side bends here help or what, but the imaging of these ones is so special. It's just pinpoint accurate and really holographic. You feel things behind you, above you. It's not just where in front of you things are. It's really 3D feeling. Whereas this is more like being in a concert hall and just being immersed in sounds happening. So it's less accurate, but more expansive. Then build quality wise, these are, the wood choice, it's always a matter of preference. I love the silk wood on this. I love cocoa as well. These are much heavier headphones, in part because the wood is denser, but mostly because these are aluminum pieces. The metal pieces are aluminum. This is a steel headband, but these are aluminum. And these ones are magnesium. So this is a lighter headphone. It's lighter, stronger, more resolving, and this one is a little bit more laid back, smoother. Both are great. If you have to pick one or the other, I think that the truly unique, amazing thing that these offer is that they introduce you to the world of extremely high resolution, as you would expect of Focalitopia headphones, but they managed to maintain the ZMF identity, the ZMF opinion on how headphones should sound like. The auteurs, I think, are really a refinement upon the icons that precede this, and they still feel unique, works of art in every way. I also like even the aesthetic of the auteurs a little bit more, I think. But on the whole, for me, I need maybe new toy syndrome, honeymoon phase, whatever, but I'm sort of more in love with the Veritas right now. But I think I like it has a very classy design. This one, it's more edgy, more modern, like a cool vortex thing, and more CNC machining, and it's like tilted. Very cool. The Silkwood too is very cool. It has less straight lines and more like if somebody dropped ink with a pen, and it has like spots of ink that can be very web-like or even holographic. I think it's a fantastic pairing for the Veritas, because the wood choice seems to accompany really well this holographic imaging feeling. And aesthetically, visually, they can be kind of holographic when looked very closely. So, how do these compare to other headphones? Well, it's not even close at this point. I simply don't have good enough headphones that would be a match to these ones. No Mr. Speakers headphones, no Odyssey headphones that I have coming in close. I have THX 00s, of course, that's not even close. This is it. It's what I was saying at the beginning. It's almost unfair for an aspiring reviewer to have to review this. Like, my review of this in a nutshell would be, they are great, I love them, they are kind of perfect, I can't find flaws in them. That's a nightmare for a review. It fits in a tweet. How do people talk about headphones for 40 minutes? I can't do it. But I just want to say, I want to convey some of the excitement and emotion of having this. I think it's really, really special. I hope that everyone gets a chance to listen to a pair of these, if and when they can. I wanted to share some of the links with articles, analysis, all the research that I did leading up to buying them, and wholeheartedly recommend them. That's all I got. If you have any questions about this, if there's anything in particular that you would like to know, well, one more thing that I'll say. Some people said that these can sound very different when paired with different amps. I don't prescribe myself to the theory of amps changing sound all that much. These are 300 ohm headphones. I don't think the output impedance difference on one amp to another is going to play that much of a factor. And as long as you can drive them properly, honestly, try not driving them out of your notebook. I mean, but if you're buying this, I'm sort of assuming you're going to have at least something like an Atom or a THX amp, something moderately priced that can do the job just fine. From their app, you tell me if you find that these headphones scales up with amps, but I don't necessarily believe that myself. So if you have any other questions about this, let me know and I'll answer them. That's it. Thank you for watching.